Well, we can use the chocolate to lure the demon out, and then the tiger will eat the demon.
Welcome back, dear listener. Welcome to the Goat American Novel, Season 2, Episode 10, Free Them All. I'm Myra Grass, host of This American Goat, which I can assure you is a real podcast. And I must say, goats everywhere are affronted by the insinuation of your regular hosts, Aaron and Ursula, to the contrary, merely because This American Goat is available exclusively on Goat Internet. Goat Internet is the only internet that matters to goats. And I can tell you, I don't think your hosts would be pleased at all about the Aaron and Ursula memes that have been circulating there. But I digress. Now, Free Them All is the title of this episode, and who, you may wonder, is the all who will be freed? Well, for that you'll have to stay tuned, because all I can tell you is that this episode contains instances of different types of setting free, and I don't want to give away any more than that. However, I believe we will all experience some vicarious liberation. Now, Hildy Festerling, creator of the Goat American Novel, asked me as she prepared this episode for you. She asked me,
Myra, do you remember Elmer?
do I?
Do you?
No.
Elmer, the fourth farmer in the Four Farms neighborhood. He's the mule and sheep neighbor. It's his kids who trapped lambs in a blanket fort?
Well, I don't see why Hildy expected me to remember irrelevant details, such as which humans have which relationship with which sheep, which mules even. However, I did a little research, and I noticed that we haven't seen this Elber, what's his name?
Elmer!
Oh yes, Elmer. Not since Season 1, Episode 2, and that, listener, is 20 episodes ago. 20! But I must say, the return of Elmer, gives me a feeling that things might be drawing to some sort of conclusion, which might be getting wrapped up, dare I say. Well, I asked Hildy about this, and she gave me a tiny hint. Hildy, I know that podcasters work in mysterious ways, but could you give the listener a glimpse into your plans? Nothing concrete, no deadlines, Hildy, but just a glimpse?
Oh, sure, Myra. There's 3 more episodes. You're going to be listening to the final episode while you carve your pumpkin and glue goat fur onto your mango costume.
Well, make of that what you will, listeners. The only matches I could find for pumpkins on Goat Internet were recipes for raw pumpkin stew, but somehow I don't think that's what she means. Well, without further ado, please enjoy the episode.
Mama Chi-Chi, Rafaela, and Stephanie peered down into the depths of the root cellar. Do either of you remember if we left this door open? I don't know about that, but what I do know for sure is that demons are capabilities of moving through locked doors and concealments. Oh, for God's sake, Rafaela, enough about demons. Dog, are you still in here? There was no answer from below. I think we can't rule out that it's lying in wait for us. Yeah, maybe we should get Billy Joel. Who's Billy Joel? Probably your dad, Mom. I don't have a dad. You do, actually? And he knows about poetry? We watched him exorcism a cat with just one poem. It was amazing. Oh my God, this just occurred to me, but we're related to him and maybe that's why we have the gift of poetry too? Girls, we need to focus. Mama Chi-Chi charged down to the dark, and the yearlings followed. Well, the herd queen let her eyes adjust to the scant bit of moonlight which reached down the cellar stairs, and she glanced at the piles of melon rinds. Well, we certainly ate a lot of interesting foods on our adventures today. Come on, the dog's gone all right, but the nets are in here. Use your mouths to feel for them. Let's bring them with us. The pigs stood in front of the enormous new house. With their keen noses, they could smell the layers of 100 years' neglect and decay, splintered into dust underneath the freshly applied layer of turf. The lead sow took a moment to nibble the shoots of perfectly smooth turf grass. Then she walked up the path to the front door. Coming to the porch, the sow planted her front trotters on the imposing door and appraised the knob. I've always wanted to open one of these things, she said. I've watched FM work on them. Down with the oppressor? Is that right? Asked a boar in the back. The lead sow put her intelligent mouth around the knob. Don't send the horse to the glue factory is, I think, the slogan we should be keeping in mind, the sow answered before testing her mouth's grip against the slippery metal. What do you think beds are, anyway? Extra soft piles of mud? The sow felt the knob turn, then slip from her grasp. She wrinkled her nose and gripped again, this time using her whole jaw to grasp and turn. All I know is, if I see any doors to any granaries in there, or any cages, I'm going to throw them open. Click. The door unlatched, and the weight of the sow's leaning body pushed the front door of Scott's house open. Hello, dog. Are you in there? Mama Chi-Chi was standing outside the window of FM's cabin and trying to peer over the ledge. Dog, listen, I'm really hope you're safe and dry in there. Look, I'm really sorry we locked you in the root cellar and left you there. Oh, you are in there. Good. Now, dog. Mom, you're so rude. Use its name. Oh, I'm being rude, am I, Rafaela? I'm the one being rude to this dog? Respectfully, Auntie Chi-Chi, Rafaela is right. Even if it is a dog and probably possessed by a demon, it's polite to use her name. Pearl, look, we're really sorry, but, now we need your help. There was a thump as Pearl hooped up and put her paws on the window ledge and barked at them through the glass. Are you out of your minds? I'm not helping you. I'm not leaving this cabin until FM comes home. And when she does come home, you goats are going to be in serious trouble. You've eaten all her squashes and yams and watermelons and kale. Mama Chi-Chi broke in. Come on, Pearl. Haven't you smelt it? All I smell is the squirrel and the crazy mess it's made inside this cabin. I know you can smell it, Pearl, and anyway, it's not a chupacabra. It's a very real predator called a tiger, and now we know where it is. It's in that big old barn, and there's missing kids and that little human girl trapped up in there with it. What? Human Layla? I don't know her name. You know, the dreamy one with the lipstick. Wait, do you know her? I bet she's dressed you up in human clothes a time or two. Layla is the only person on this farm who cares about me now that FM's gone. She rescued me from the root cellar and fed me a burger. Well, then you'd better come and help her. She's in danger of being the burger now. You're lying. You're probably trying to trap me in that barn and make me listen to more of those vet pooms. Look, your kids are holding the nets in their mouths right now. No, Pearl, I'm not lying. It's the truth. The nets are for the tiger. Now that I'm close to that barn, that stinking meat eater is all I can smell. Come outside. You'll smell it too. I won't come out. You can't make me. Anyway, Layla closed the window for me. Rafaela put her horns right through the glass. Now the squirrel can get back in. Pearl, it's time you accepted the truth. That squirrel you're always blaming your problems on is inside you. Mama Chi-Chi butted her daughter to the ground. Ow, Mom! I'm sorry about that, Pearl, but smell the air. I won't! You can't not look at that big nose of yours. You can smell anything. I can smell that you've been drinking FM's spicy juice. Well, there's no denying that, but go on, keep smelling. We won't leave until you do. Pearl kept a wary eye on the goats, but could not help lifting her muzzle to the air. Mama Chi-Chi watched the nose quiver and stop, the big eyes opening in alarm. There it is, Mama Chi-Chi said. You've caught it. The blood you smell belongs to Lady Baba's kid, the big one. She's wounded but alive, so they tell me. That creature hasn't managed to kill anyone yet, but it's up there, in that barn, hunting. And the little ones are with it, including your Layla. And as long as it's there, it's a danger to everyone on this farm, even FM herself. Ooh, come on, don't whine about it. Come and be the great protector. Come on, jump out. It had taken Layla some time to figure out how to work the pulley. Once she'd realized that she could attach the business end of the rope to a wooden crate, then she could place the boxes of books, dishes, jewelry, cookware, farm implements, paintings, knickknacks, hand tools, etc. in the crate. Then she was able to slowly lower them, and once they'd reached the ground, she could jiggle the rope gently to allow the box to roll its contents out onto the ground below. So there was still a bit of jostling for the boxes of antiques, but not a 30-foot drop. In the hours since seeing Archie, she realized she'd never get all the stuff out of the barn for the garage sale.
I once heard FM say that she gets all her stuff at garage sales.
She told Minerva.
And she says they happen really early in the morning. Like, really early. I've never been up all night before.
She shivered away her tiredness and opened another box.
Look! Porcelain animals! I wonder if there's any porcelain goats. FM's box of porcelain goats got all smashed up for some reason.
She rooted through the box of porcelain animals while Minerva looked on encouragingly.
Actually, a lot of FM's stuff got wrecked. I hate that she's gonna come home to that mess. Hey, here's some goats. Oh, and this is a really cute donkey.
Layla smiled at Minerva and kissed the goat on the nose. Meh, Minerva replied sweetly. And Layla placed a small selection of carefully chosen porcelain animals in an empty box, high on a shelf.
Help me keep track of these things for FM, okay, Minerva Goat?
Meh! Layla closed the box with the remaining figurines and placed them inside the wooden pulley crate. When she began to lower it, Minerva, who was leaning over the window and watching its progress, gave a loud bleat.
What is it?
Layla asked, looking down.
Oh, that again.
A tiny wisp of electric blue smoky substance shivered its way out of the crannies of the box as it was lowered down. Layla and Minerva looked significantly at one another.
Do you think that's Ruby One-Horn stuff?
Meh! Layla rubbed her hands together in satisfaction. She then reached for another box. This one filled with beautiful quilts packed tight in a cedar chest, which released its fragrant aroma on being opened. Layla sorted through the quilts gingerly, then said,
You know, FM's blanket is covered with mashed up chocolate bananas.
She pulled out the prettiest of the quilts and set it aside with the porcelain animals, then packed up to lower the remaining quilts, and they saw again the release of a tiny portion of the blue mist. The pigs stepped across the threshold of the house. The lead sow looked around herself, then let out a squeal of fear. On the wall across from them was the head of a huge animal.
"Where's the rest of it?"
squealed the sow. All they could see was the head, sticking out of a plank of wood. The animal was hairless like them, but its skin was gray, and the eyes that stared out were lifeless and glassy, and one enormous cream-colored horn rose upwards from its snout.
"It's staring at us,"
quailed one pig.
"Turn it away,"
suggested another. But the big boar said,
"No, keep moving. It's only here to frighten us off doing the revolution, and I smell animals in cages."
This last came from the big boar, who had never seen animals in cages, but he could smell animals. Many animals. Unfamiliar animals, and he could smell the frustration of captivity, the hours of pacing, the stress of confinement, the longing for mud, or for whatever mud was to these other animals. He stomped past the great horned gray head that gargoyled the entrance, and into a room full of cages. The first animal he encountered locked its yellow eyes with his and pulled back its teeth in a hiss. It was some kind of a cat, but wildish with gold spots, a little smaller than a whippet dog. The boar stopped short of its cage and took the animal in with his eyes, ears to tail. And the boar was visited by a powerful awareness of the animal's strong little legs, its curled spine, its claws, all wasted and powerless there in the cage. The animal opened its little mouth to hiss again, but stopped. It shared eye contact with the boar for one beat longer, and both felt that strange lightning bolt of understanding, which can sometimes occur between strangers.
"I am of the mud,"
the boar's husky voice rang out.
"Of chewing clovers and digging up roots. I am of the wallow."
"I am from trees,"
the animal's silky voice responded.
"and leaping and catching colorful birds in the leaves."
The boar lunged at the cage and fought it with his mouth, biting and twisting at the latches of metal until he felt something pop loose. And then he pulled back with all his might and was rewarded by the gratifying sight of the animal pouring his beautiful liquid fur body through the opening the boar himself had created. He rested his sore mouth on the cat. The listener will understand, not a great big cat, but not a little house cat either. The cat stood shivering and twitching tail, then turned to him.
"The trees are that way. The door is open,"
the boar told the cat.
"Thank you, brother."
The cat made one graceful feline leap toward the door, then turned back to call and gestured with his tail to the room full of caged snakes, lizards, mammals, birds.
"Free them! Free them all!"
"Free them all,"
answered the boar.
"Throw open the cages and granaries,"
called the big sow.
"Build consensus and do a therapy,"
answered the small sow.
"And don't send the horse to the glue factory,"
called the fourth pig. And then the pigs got to work. It was not often at all, that the telephone rang before dawn at the home of Elmer, the mule and sheep neighbor. His first thought was that one of his twin daughters had gotten in trouble again for roller skating naked across the basketball court at halftime, or spray painting a mule on the side of the dean of students' car at their college.
"Let them wait a bit,"
he muttered into his pillow. A glance told him that it was somewhere in the ghastly hour between 4 and 5 a.m. But the phone kept ringing. It rang until it stopped, and then it started again. Blearily, Elmer sat up and pulled himself out of bed. He stumped over to the offending telephone. He still had the style that hung on the wall, and gripped it with his rough hands, barked,
"You tell my daughters they can finish out their night in the lockup. I'll bail them out after I've finished the night's sleep that God intended me to have."
And he began to put the receiver back down when he heard a very unexpected voice squawk out of the phone.
Elmer? Elmer, it's FM. Don't you hang up on me.
Elmer blinked and stared at the phone.
FM? FM? Have you lost your mind? It's 4:00 in the morning.
That's right, Elmer. It's me, calling you at 4:30, and I'm calling in the favor.
Oh, the favor?
That's right, the favor. And I'm calling it in now.
Elmer squinted.
Marianne, what do you need?
I need your horse trailer. At the seaside village, 9:30 sharp. It's a 4-hour drive, so I've left you some time to make coffee and fry up an egg.
What? You want me to come now?
If you leave in 32 minutes, you should be exactly...
Marianne, what have you been drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with the question at hand. Now.
You're out of your ever-loving mind, FM. Why do you need a horse trailer now?
Because...
And through the phone, Elmer realized he was hearing the indistinguishable sounds of boisterous chatter in the background.
Because I have it on good authority that is when circus people are in the deepest part of their sleep cycle. 9 a.m. is 4 a.m. to the circus person.
What? Circus person? FM, I know you. And, well, I know over the years we've had our differences. And, well, I respect you. But circus people? You've fallen in with circus people?
Oh, no, Elmer. It's much worse than that.
FM giggled strangely.
I'm in with vegans.
Vegans? FM, no!
I'll say no more. Top secret.
Now, be reasonable, Marianne. I've got to deworm the mule.
You won't Marianne your way out of this. The favor, Elmer.
Oh, fiddlesticks, FM. You're bringing that up.
You're damn right I'm bringing that up. Now, you have that horse trailer.
She gave him the address.
At 9:30 sharp. You've only got 22 minutes to fry up that egg, Elmer.
There was more background chatter, then the line went dead. Elmer staggered into his bedroom to pull on his jeans and suspenders.
What do the girls need? Money? An alibi?
Murmured Pollyanne, Elmer's wife.
No, it was FM.
FM?
She's calling in that favor.
We do owe her.
Pollyanne agreed, and she went back to sleep.
Guess I better go check on that horse trailer.
Elmer muttered. He slipped into his boots and took up his flashlight and went into the driveway. His mule hunting trip with the German tourists was only 2 days away, and already he'd hitched the trailer to his truck, but he wanted to recheck the trailer's tires and the hitch connection so he wouldn't have any nasty surprises. Upon approaching the trailer, he was surprised to see that he'd left the back loading doors wide open. But he was much more surprised to see his twins' old skateboard ramp hauled out of wherever it had been kept for these last 4 years and placed some 5 feet directly behind the trailer. Elmer looked around himself, suspecting at once some trick of his troublesome daughters, but no, they were in California. He shook his head.
Strange night.
Still, he thought, the trailer was pointed out towards the driveway. He didn't need to back it up, so he didn't need to waste time moving the ramp out from behind it. He checked and double-checked the height of the tires, closed and latched the trailer door, then, glancing at his wristwatch, ran back inside to fry up that egg. Beyond Millicent's house, beyond the little square country block of the Four Farms neighborhood, lived a family that owned a bakery. They had a teenage son who was a little younger than Sawyer, and this son's duties included gathering up the day-old pastries and delivering them for FM's pigs down the road. He was supposed to do this in the evenings after the bakery closed, but he'd been out on a date the night before, and he hadn't wanted to have the smell of apple fritters in the car. Now, Jordan was paying for his oversight. His mother, Barb, was rapping on his door at 4 o'clock. Bakers get up early to get the bread started.
Jordan!
Jordan groaned.
Jordan! Did you clear out the day-olds?
Oh, 5 more minutes, Mom.
Son, the shop just is not big enough. Please, yesterday there was a whole order of chocolate cream-filled donuts that never got picked up. Canceled right after I made them. I can't have them cluttering up the shop. Now get out of bed, son, and get to it.
As the night thinned out and began to show signs of turning to morning, Layla lost count of the number of boxes she'd lowered out of the window, boxes which all released mysterious wisps of the ghostly substance.
I'm starting to get really tired out,
she told Minerva, who bleated and pressed her forehead to Layla's leg. Layla leaned out the window and shone her light on the jumble of boxes below, which were still nowhere near safe jumping height.
I'm not sure about this climbing down the stack of boxes plan. Maybe if we just keep adding more boxes?
Minerva looked up at her doubtfully.
Well, I don't know. Where's Archie? He said, but I can't count on my little brother to... I wish Sawyer were here. He'd know what to do, wouldn't he?
She looked out the window and shone her flashlight on the boxes.
There's no way it would be safe for Silver to climb down these boxes. We're going to need to carry her out on a stretcher or something. Oh!
Under her beam of light, movement drew her attention to the blackberry hedge. Something was coming under the hedge. It was goats. Goats dragging nets in their mouths? And with them...
Oh, hello, Pearl.
Woof! Came the anxious reply. Bah! Bawled Mama Chi-Chi.
Hi, goats. Hi, Pearl. I'm glad you're here.
Bah! Mama Chi-Chi asked again.
Oh, I'm not sure where your other kids and everyone are, if that's what you're wondering. We're still working on a way to get everyone out safely.
The horrible roar came then from the barn, and it cut through every one of them. It was a hungry, angry roar. Those who hadn't yet seen the tiger were made perfectly aware by this roar of just how large, how powerful must be the beast who had made it. Those who had seen it, had fought it, felt as though the roar itself reopened the wounds where the tiger had slashed and clawed them. Each and every one, the goats, Layla, Pearl, felt cut through by a laser, exposed to be nothing but meat. Bah! The little voice of Gotina, calling from the back room, cut through the silence that terror had created. Ma! Mama Chi-Chi called out, My Gotina doesn't have her! And Pearl began to bark uncontrollably, and again came the voice of the tiger. Bah! Come quick! Gotina called again. Bah! Put in Silver weakly, but with great intensity in her voice. Layla and Minerva, the only ones able to go to them, shared a brief, fierce moment of eye contact, a determination that belied their horror. Layla's hand found an iron poker. Minerva gave a mighty practice swipe with her horns, and they ran back through the barn into the corridor, ducking to pass under the collapsing roof at the middle, and out of the corridor outside to the room where Gotina and Silver were, where, surely, the tiger had somehow made its way back up, through the boxes covering the trap door, or had found another trap door and was surely already sinking its teeth into Gotina. And this thought crashing into both Layla and Minerva's minds made their feet feel like lead at what they would find inside the room. Bah! Came a gasp from inside. Bah! Agreed Silver. Come quick! Minerva understood Gotina to be saying, and Layla, at close range, began to know that these were bleats of summons, but perhaps not danger. They stepped into the room. Ruby! Gotina said. Ruby One-Horn! The remains of the skeleton of Ruby One-Horn was trembling. Wisps of blue light were emerging in the room, swirling around the skeleton in the dark.
That's the same light. The same light we saw coming out of the boxes.
As the light gathered and swirled around the skeleton, the bones began to hum. Layla shook her head to clear it. Yes, the bones were humming. The bones were vibrating. And as the swirling blue light congealed around them, the vibration became a rattle.
Bah! Asked Gotina. What's happening? I was asleep. I was taking care of Silver, and then that roar. And now, all this.
Silver blinked slowly, and her bleat was thick. Silver couldn't sleep. She was dreaming of the blue farts. Then she was too hot. And then she was too cold. And then she was too hot. And then she was too cold. But all night, when Silver was sleeping, and when Silver was waking, the blue farts kept coming in to Ruby. They're not farts, Minerva said. That blue stuff was trapped in the boxes. I think it's part of Ruby that we're stuck here. Stuck in all this old stuff.
Goat, do you know what's happening?
Layla asked. Outside, Mama Chi-Chi and Pearl could be heard trading a volley of aggressive noises with the tiger. Battle bleats, growls, and barks. But for the souls trapped on the second floor, all the attention was trained on the swirl of blue light coalescing, becoming almost solid, and then being sucked down into the quivering bones.
Ruby!
Gotina said, as the full, strong form of the ghost took shape, then poured out of the skeleton ribcage. Not a wispy, insubstantial after-shadow of Ruby. No, this ghost had a strong, clear form. And what a goat she would have been. Tall, beautifully proportioned, an imposing figure that none would dare tangle with. The ghost goat took a lap, trotting purposefully around the air of the barn room, flickering the ancient lights.
What's happening?
Layla repeated, frozen to the spot. And then Ruby came close, very close to her, and the ghostly eyes flashed as Ruby seemed to flare even brighter, and she reared and threw a forceful butt, a butt that would have cracked skulls, at a stack of books near Layla. Ruby's eyes, yes, they could see them. Ruby's eyes focused on a particular book. And as the first beam of the coming daylight crested the horizon and penetrated the barn window, one book seemed to fall open from the force of the ghostly butt. Yes, the book seemed to fall open in slow motion, and out of the pages fell a scrap of something, a something which fluttered through the new day's first sunbeam and fell on Layla's feet. Layla looked down at the scrap, then reached and picked it up.
Oh, it's a newspaper. Disgraced Westerly family flees after tragedy?
Layla cleared her throat.
I'm gonna read it, right?
She said to Ruby, who tossed her head.
The remaining members of the Westerly family have fled the country to escape prosecution of multiple charges of violating health, safety, and labor standards. The alleged offenses were exposed following last month's tragic death of Mr. Westerly, the patriarch of the Westerly family dynasty. Mr. Westerly has long been a leading citizen of this town and a pioneer of industrial agriculture in our region. Authorities were called to the scene last month.
Layla gulped.
After Mr. Westerly was killed in an altercation with what neighbors described as a murder goat? Oh, that's you, I guess. While investigating Westerly's death, the police uncovered what an officer on the scene described as a small army of malnourished child laborers harvesting unhealthy milk from diseased cattle in the most cruel and squalid conditions imaginable. The Westerly family has refused to cooperate in the investigation and fled the country following the seizure of the farm. Officials are unsure as to how to proceed as the legal status of the property and assets, the evidence in the case, are left in a legal limbo.
Layla stopped reading and stared up at Ruby's ghost. Then, Gotina started bleating. Ruby galloped over and stood nose to nose with Gotina, who was bleating her quiet words. Layla couldn't understand what was being said, but she held tight to Minerva and listened to the feeling.
Ruby One-Horn, you were, in life, the greatest herd queen of all time. You founded the Milk and Wool Producing Animals Neighborhood Society, and you risked everything. You took a life to protect animals and children. In death, you've always been here for the goats of this neighborhood, offering us guidance in our times of need. In death, you warned us, you protected us, you saved our lives. You even gave your bones to protect us. And now, Ruby, now we say to you, Ruby, you may go to your rest. This little human girl is going to burst open the doors of this barn and get rid of all the stuff that's been keeping you trapped here for 100 years. And Silver's going to get better, Ruby, and she's strong like you. And Minerva's wise like you, and so's my sister Dandy. And we're going to remember everything you showed us, Ruby. And we're going to get out of this alive. And we're going to carry on your legacy of keeping the herd together, and animals looking out for each other and protecting each other, and always being wise and brave for each other.
Gotina gulped and reached up to rub her forehead against the blue glow of Ruby's nose.
You can go now, Ruby. Go to your rest. We'll never forget you.
Ruby bowed deeply to Gotina and then turned and cantered through the smashed window under which she had left her bones, cantered out across the sky, running on a bridge made of the beams of the first light to disappear finally into the blazing light of the rising sun. While the spirit of Ruby One-Horn was being released, Pearl, Mama Chi-Chi, and the two yearlings were standing around barking and bleating at the foot of the westerly barn. They had heard the roar and responded to it with outbursts of the most threatening noises they could make. They had heard the creature's immense growls in response. They had heard, or rather, imagined it slink away, silently and dangerously, in the manner of cats. To hide, to wait, to watch, to plan. "What's going on up there?" Rafaela stamped. They could hear the indistinct sounds of voices, goat and human, drifting down from the barn windows, but not enough to understand what was being said. "What are we waiting for, Mom? What's the plan anyway?" Mama Chi-Chi shifted. "Well, I'm not really sure, Rafaela. It's not my plan." "What? Whose plan is it?" Well, it's Dandy's and that human child named Octrix. They made the plan." "What? Are you kidding me, Mom? Dandy? Arcturix? Lady Baba's runt and that human kid who sprays alpacas in the butt with the hose? They made the plan?" "I think that's an accurate assessment, Rafaela. Clover, the sheep, my longtime rival, she's also heavily involved. It's a new leadership style I'm trying out. Yesterday, I let teenagers corral us into a root cellar to torture the dog with vet pooms." She gestured toward Pearl with her horns. "Again, sorry about that, Pearl. Today, this business." She glanced at Pearl again, but Pearl's ears were cocked. Pearl was not listening to the goats, or even trying to pick up what was in the barn anymore. She was hearing from afar the approach of a car, but not just any car. The donut car. What is it, Pearl? Asked Stephanie. The mother and daughter goat were too busy arguing to notice.
Pearl, is it the demon? Is it coming on you?
No, you donkey, it's the donut car.
Oh, okay. I don't really like donuts. I stole one from a pig one time. It was too sweet, but I did eat a bagel once and it was good.
Don't you know anything? Half of donuts are chocolate glazed and filled with heavenly cream.
Oh, okay. Isn't chocolate, bad for most animals? I read about that.
Pearl narrowed her eyes at Stephanie, and quite suddenly, the Great Pyrenees experienced the first shrewd thought of her life. Chocolate, summons the demon.
Really? It does?
Yep.
So there really is a demon?
Absolutely. And chocolate makes it go crazy. It makes the demon scream about power and smash your stuff and flicker the lights.
I knew it.
So what I'm thinking is, the tiger, well, we can use the chocolate to lure the demon out, and then the tiger will eat the demon.
Oh, is that a good thing? Isn't the demon
She dropped to a whisper.
inside you?
It's hard to explain. It's very mysterious and just, private. Come on, help me get the donuts. The lead sow and the boar who had opened the first cage stood in front of the last cage. It was the largest cage, and inside it was the largest animal in the house. It was a thick, long lizard. It was as large as a pig, but low-riding, and it paced in its little cage. It looked at the two pigs, and its long, forked tongue slid continuously in and out of its mouth.
Well, looks like it's time to free old Grandpa Lizard.
The lead sow looked at the lizard.
Do you eat pigs?
Well, back on Komodo Island, I ate deer and snakes, rodents, and most anything.
The lizard paused in a contemplative reverie, remembering the things he had eaten.
One time I almost ate a documentary filmmaker. I was looking forward to that, but then he yelled cut and he got away. So then I ate a bunch of more deer. Then for a while I had a girlfriend who tried to make me go vegan. That didn't work. Then came to find out I got trapped by some humans and put in this cage.
The boar and the sow looked at each other nervously.
It sounds like you might eat pigs.
I'm trying to stay off the nitrates.
It said, then flicked its tongue appraisingly at them. The lead sow turned to the boar.
I don't know. I don't think we contain any nitrates. Open all the granaries. All the cages.
Insisted the boar. The lead sow turned to the lizard.
If we let you go, will you give us a 10-minute head start?
Oh, sure, I'm getting old and I'm probably not much for hunting anymore. I'll focus on these smaller animals before I try anything your size.
The pigs weren't sure whether that made them feel any better or not, but then the lizard spoke up again.
Actually, you know what? I want to eat that dude who's been keeping me here and staring at me while I eat. He's a real wiener.
That would be good,
said the sow.
We're doing this Russian Revolution thing.
If it means I can eat that dude, I'm in.
The boar grinned and reached for his lock.
You mean you're out?
Well, listeners, it's late at night as I'm finishing cooking up this episode for you. It is the Ante-penultimate episode of the Goat American novel. special guests this episode include the inimitable Myra Grass, Brian Laughtland as Old Grandpa Lizard or the Komodo Dragon. In the role of Barb the Baker, and in his podcasting debut as a little ocelot, Felix Buker. Those in the know have been waiting for Felix to join the cast for some time now. In addition, this week we had a special treat. The beautiful, just stirring cover of Sweet Dreams by Limoncello. It's a 2-piece cello band out of Russia. I had to translate into the Cyrillic alphabet using Google to request their permission to use their song. Thank you, Limoncello, for your gorgeous contribution to our work. Returning in the role of Elmer was Johnny Buker. AJ Buker was also here, lending their excellent voicing to Layla, who's really gone through a lot. I think that's all the actors we had this week. Well, see you soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Good American Novel.